I look at business or entrepreneurship as the only way to solve the problems that our country has. Like, every day count whether you are better than yesterday or not. Who don't say anything about their goals, who don't talk anything about their goals, but are there every day in college, showing up 8:30 in the morning, sitting in the class till 6 in the evening, listening to their faculty, boring, interesting, doesn't matter. And I am so confident because of my experience that versus the students who have big goals, these are the students who are going to do something great.
Hello everybody, welcome to Entrepreneurship Simplified, and this show is going to introduce you to those biggest ideas and the best entrepreneurs who is going to help you decode entrepreneurship to its roots, literally the real life challenges and situations, failures and successes, so that you don't need to repeat the same mistakes, rather focus on your growth and realize the dream of becoming an entrepreneur much faster. And believe me, this is an heart-to-heart show. There is nothing, no script about it. This show is being done in association with Young Indians. Young Indians is a movement for Indian youth to converge, lead, co-create and influence India's future. YI is playing a proactive role in India's development process. If you want to take part of India's growth and be successful, YI is a place to be. And today's guest is a young and dynamic leader who started at college at the age of 23 years. A Cresta School of Management, Science and Arts. He chose to start a college to challenge the status quo and with a vision to shape hundreds of entrepreneurs. He visited some of the world-class universities in India and USA before he created a blueprint for his vision to match the modern needs. While he started the college with just 14 students, now they have more than 400 students across various courses. He revolutionized the education approach as every course is industry-oriented through projects and internships. He presented Indian Jains Community in Global Youth Exchange Program organized by JITO. He is also an active member of non-profit organizations like Young Indians. He is a member of Young Indians Mysuru chapter. Help me to welcome Sambhav Shah, CEO of Cresta School of Management, Science and Arts. Hi Sambhav, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. It is a pleasure to meet you and it's an honor to be on your platform.
Wonderful. First of all, man, I really want to ask this question. At the age of 23, many people probably they might be looking at some kind of a job, or some people had no clue what they're going to do after. What has stuck in your mind to really start a college going forward and kind of changing the approach of education?
So college is just a means of fulfilling my dream of contributing in education, right? I mean, if it wasn't the college, it would have been something else. But I always knew that education is where I want to contribute in. Right, and it comes from my simple experiences of not having education that was good enough in my own mind, correct? And when you realize that you have the potential to change some things because of your background and because of where you come from, I think it's just a matter of hopping on to that opportunity, right? So I just hopped on to the opportunity the moment I realized that I have X number of resources available and I can make a big impact. So it was a game of realization rather than finding an opportunity.
Wow, this is really inspiring. But somehow I want to ask, how did you realize at that age, at 23, right? Because there are so many people who are ambitious to start something. It is just the challenge is they don't know, they don't realize at the right time, so that they just get into some kind of a job and then they lost track. Because after that you become a slave of the job, right?
I mean, you must have heard, a lot of spiritual gurus tell that, you should count your gratitude, you should count your blessings, you should count the good things in your life every day. As a businessman, I believe if you are a good businessman, you should count your resources every day, correct? How many people you have access to, what is the money you have, what is the knowledge you have. If you're going to keep counting every day what you have, you will automatically know what is it that you can contribute. Right. So gratitude works for the soul, and counting your resources works for the business. So every day, I mean, I think when I was in my 10th standard of first PUC, that is when I realized as to what I have versus what I could have and versus what I don't have. Correct. So these three things would always keep running in my mind, and you could clearly differentiate yourself based on your education, based on your background, based on your family, that okay, these are the places that I could have contributed in, but I'm not contributing in. So in my, I think 11th standard, I realized that I don't need to earn my bread and butter, correct? My family is earning my bread and butter. So why don't I do something beyond that? And I started teaching in government schools, correct? No pay, nothing. So I think 5 years of my life, I taught in government schools through various organizations, of course. But certainly I realized that I don't need to hunt for my bread butter. So that is when I got into education. So if you realize what you don't need to hunt for, you can hunt for better things. Right? So that's how I look at it, and that's how you will find the right opportunity.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I got a really very important message from here. If you think you're really liking something, maybe, like you said, you went into the government schools. What kind of mindset was there actually for going into the, this government schools? Why you wanted to get into the government schools? How did you think it would help you?
I look at business or entrepreneurship as the only way to solve the problems that our country has. Correct. I mean, I don't look at any other profession solving these. Even if you are looking at building a vaccine, correct, it is because there was an entrepreneur who started a vaccine manufacturing firm because of some idea from some doctor, correct. But at the end, it was solved by a businessman. And I look at every problem of this country to be solved only by businessmen. Now, when I talk about problem, the real problem is faced in those places. I mean, the real problems of this country lie in those schools. The real problems of these countries lie in those villages. They are our majority audience, and they are our audience that has not been given opportunity. So if I have got an opportunity until my 10th standard to learn from the best of the best faculty, to learn from the best school, why shouldn't I go and share it? I mean, I don't see any harm. I would suggest anybody who is watching this video, and if you are between the age of 14 to 18, please go and teach in a government school. Whatever you can, English, math, science, whatever you like, please go and teach.
Wow, this is a very powerful message, Sambhav. What kind of approach that you installed into your institute by, understanding the actual challenges of all those government schools?
Because of popular opinion, we have started talking about skills today, right? Everybody is talking about we should give skills to students. There should be real problem-solving abilities in them, and these are the conversations that we are having. What I realized with my institution and what I wanted to do different was that I have always believed that your skill follows your intuition. We as a country have now reached where we've started valuing skills, but I think our real problems will be met only when we stop concentrating on skills so much and start concentrating on building the intuitive process of students. I can teach you how to become an entrepreneur, or I can teach you how to become a digital marketeer, or I can teach you how to become a carpenter, or I can teach you how to become an electrician. But your intuition has to tell you that this is required. And only then that teaching will actually make sense. Now, what is lacking in our students and what is lacking in especially this generation, which is in their 8th standard to 12th standard right now, is that they've stopped listening to their intuition.
Yeah.
They are running behind skills. I should have 150 skills and I will do well in life. It doesn't work that way. Correct? I mean, I can have 100 certificates, I can have 5 degrees, and I still might not have a job. That's because I didn't listen to my intuition. If my intuition says I need to be a sweeper today in my house, I need to learn sweeping. If my intuition says I need to be a cook in my house today, I should learn cooking. It's not that I learn sweeping, cooking, and everything, and the house will get managed automatically, right? I mean, that's not going to happen. This has become a big gap, like big gap, more than we realize.
And how do you actually address this issue within your institute?
I'm a roots guy, right? I like to go to the root of every problem. So with my institution, the concepts that we talk about in non-class hours or during class hours are usually tools, correct? Very, very basic tools. Like, for example, we talk about tools like root cause analysis, correct? That two students are fighting with each other. Or maybe somebody has had a breakup, correct? Simple, basic problem. Somebody has had a breakup. Usually in institutions, what will happen is either that idea will go ignored, correct? Sometimes teachers will not know about it, parents will not know about it, nobody will know about it, and life moves forward. in my institution, that would be caught, and it would be a big message for those two students, correct, who are going through it. Why is it? Whose behavior was wrong? If the behavior was wrong, from where did that behavior come? In my institution, I have gone to the extent of finding out that somebody's grandfather was abusive, correct, and because of that, that person is right now facing X number of difficulties. Or we go to that kind of root cause analysis. Even though I have 400 students, I can tell you about each student and what their basic problem was and how this institution is going to solve their problem.
Wow.
And that's fundamentally my focus all the time. And that's the reason why we have so many faculties. So everything revolves around that.
I can see an internal element which is talking to me most of the time from US. You have a spiritual element within you, and I've also seen some kind of yoga your students are doing. What is that spiritual element that's helping you to solve these problems, and also in your entrepreneurial journey?
I am by religion a Jain, correct, and my religion teaches two very important things, correct. One is non-violence, and second is accepting everything around you. So these two things have become a part of our upbringing, and that solves most of the problems of life, correct. So if I think of something as it is going to harm somebody, or it is going to harm some thought, or it is going to harm, I know it is not for me, correct. It might be for somebody else, but it is not for me. The same way, I do not tolerate non-acceptance, correct. I mean, you have to accept everybody, you have to accept every religion, you have to accept every problem, you have to accept every challenge. Acceptance is a big part of my entire story, correct. And that is what happens even inside the institution, and that gets carried forward, from the top line to your security guard. How your top line is, that's how your security guard is also going to be. So if your security guard is going to not allow somebody because they don't look good, you know that it is because the management sitting in that cabin is also behaving the same way. And
yes,
that follows across, correct, daily life, business, institution, wherever, whatever activity I'm doing, that is something that everybody can see very evidently.
This is nice. But how does this yoga help these students?
I look at this institution as a shopping mall, correct. So basically, when we go to a shopping mall, there might be 50 stores, and we might go and purchase from one store, correct. We will never purchase from all 50 stores. So I look at my institution as a shopping mall for students. I want to show them things that they wouldn't have seen otherwise. So for example, yoga, correct. Some students might have gone through yoga, but it would have happened at a much later stage in life. Everybody comes across yoga at some stage in life. I think it is right to introduce them to that in their college. So it might be yoga, it might be any other spiritual learning, it might be certifications, it might be entrepreneurship, digital marketing, it might be maybe starting your own business, it might be starting a bakery, it might be starting a hospital. I mean, in my institution, students are touched throughout 3 years. They touch all kinds of things that are required to be touched. And then you choose what you want to do.
I touched yoga literally. I waited 35 years to start yoga. So you can imagine. And
so these are 15-year-old kids, correct? Versus these are 15-year-old kids. So they might not understand the value of it, but when the time comes, they will be like, okay, there is something called as yoga, and this is the effect it had on me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now I know the impact, because I got so much really powerful or the profound experience I had with yoga. Now I do it every day. And then I went into advanced, straight away I'm not teaching yoga, but I went into teacher training, because that's the kind of impact it has on me. But if somebody is going to learn at the age of 15 years, I'm really so happy, because they have another 20 years in terms of emotional balance, in terms of the spiritual knowledge, which is going to guide them. This is really, really amazing.
Like just, like yoga. So for example, COVID, correct? So COVID and the lockdown happened in March. My students had a talk on COVID 1 year before that. 1 year before that, correct? So we gave a talk on pandemic exactly 1 year before that, so I heard Bill Gates' speech, and I got that idea from there, and I got some pandemic expert from Bangalore to come and address my students over here. In the month of December, correct, when the first case happened, 2 days after that, there was somebody giving a talk on COVID inside the college. That is the speed at which I like to expose students. I mean, expose them to everything by the time they reach the age of 21, and then let them decide.
You're really giving a lot of powerful knowledge right at this age. What is entrepreneurship for you? Especially I know some of your students must be learning. What is entrepreneurship for you?
The journey of entrepreneurship is extremely important for me. What I mean by the journey of entrepreneurship is, so if I look back every day, correct, as to what my contribution is, if it is one step better than yesterday, I think I'm doing well. Correct. I mean, I don't even have, I've not even set extremely mega goals, or I have not done those things, correct. But what I do for sure is that, is my place better than where I was yesterday, as an individual and as a business? And it's that every day's journey that counts for me as entrepreneurship. So I started with a small thought that I want to teach, correct. It didn't matter how I want to teach, but the thought was I want to teach. So I started by teaching in one classroom. Then I expanded that, okay, let 3 friends come in and we'll all teach. So my impact tomorrow is that 3 friends are teaching. Slowly I realized that, okay, my impact can increase. I can teach more people in a more structured format if I have a small institution to run. So I started with 12, 15 students who were interested to join, 4 faculties who were interested to teach, correct? And every day we counted from there on. That yesterday we had 12 students and 4 faculties, and these many classes we took. Tomorrow, how many are we taking? Day after tomorrow, how many are we taking? And in 365 days, how many are we taking? So that's the journey. Like every day count whether you are better than yesterday or not.
Wow, this is something first time I'm hearing. Bettering every day is an entrepreneurial journey because you take ownership of the progress instead of running just behind the milestones. This is
I mean, leave me. So many people around me could never imagine Cresta being successful. Correct? Having 400 students in a college where the owner only is like 24, 25. He only is not educated. So there were so many things that were there. But then when you look back, your journey has been successful because you have been improving. If you talk to me after 3 months, I'm sure I will have something more to tell. And that's all I look at.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. Like, trust me, I have realized now that is an extremely powerful step to do. At that time, it felt simple, but now it feels extremely powerful because the complexity of being better becomes more day by day. So, my communication had to be good 3 years back to be good. Today, my communication doesn't even matter. My administration has to be good. Tomorrow, my administration will not be important. My policy making has to be good. So the complication of becoming better every day will result in everything else. Your competency will develop, your finances will develop, your intakes will develop, your customers will develop, your clients will develop, your network will develop. And it's just going to happen by this one activity.
Wow. Yeah. I totally agree with that, Sambhav. And I just want to say, this has been one of the most interesting conversations about the entrepreneurship, about the education, about somebody who is leading something more innovative. Like I've been really kind of talking to so many guests. What I want to say is, all this audience, I want you to really understand, like Sambhav said, what kind of education are you looking at? Get exposed to everything that is on there, and then choose and make sure that you start following your passion. And then, just get exposed to at any level. Just like what he did is, he just started with just a government, schools, teaching in the government schools with a proper cost. So, Sambhav, I want to say a big thanks to your contribution to this show of Entrepreneurship Simplified. And I'm also going to wish you all the best with many more entrepreneurs to come out from your college and, make so many changes in the society.
Thank you.
Do you have any last word you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, so whoever is listening, especially if you're in the audience of this age group of 16 to 21, 22, please stop following the pattern of dream big, go big, have big goals. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is your action every day. I have students in my college who say they want to be the CEO of Google or CEO of Apple, but they are sitting and playing on their phone the entire day. It's not going to happen. Right? And I have students versus who don't say anything about their goals, who don't talk anything about their goals, but are there every day in college, showing up 8:30 in the morning, sitting in the class till 6 in the evening, listening to their faculty, boring, interesting, doesn't matter. And I am so confident because of my experience that versus the students who have big goals, these are the students who are going to do something great. And this is exactly what you should look at. If somebody tells you, don't sit in class, if somebody tells you, you don't need to learn, if somebody tells you, you don't need this education, if somebody tells you Indian education system is bad, please take it from this year and throw it. Because it doesn't matter. What matters is you show up and nothing else matters. So that's my final giveaway.
Wonderful, Sambhav. Show up, take action. This is the success formula for all those people who are in the range of that education time. And that's from Sambhav. And if you have not yet subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe and like the button and share with every single student out there where this message can make an impact in their lives and they get into that successful route. So otherwise, I'll see you with another amazing guest in the next week. But till then, I would say, no, not I. Me and Sambhav will say thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you all. See you. Bye-bye.